Okay. I just hit record to the cloud. Who is my designated person in this class to remind me to hit record?
I'll let you know next time.
Okay.
Like last time.
Yeah, that's reassuring to me. Thank you very much. I can count on you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So now let's look at your course. So you'll notice that your syllabus now should correspond with your dates on your board here. I'm just going to hit the high points here, required readings. You've got PowerPoint Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And I want you to really look at these because next week, do we have class next week? Yeah, we do.
Yes, ma'am.
Also have a Warhawk Day on Tuesday. Have y'all dealt with that in your field seminar class? Let your folk know, your field supervisor know that you're off on Tuesday, or are y'all going to go ahead and work?
I haven't
Truthfully,
told anyone anything yet. I would what we should do.
Alonda, go ahead.
I just said I wasn't sure as to what we should do. Should we go ahead and work that day or just tell them that that's a day off that we have from the university?
I
wasn't sure.
Okay, well, did you talk to Dr. Salisbury? Because she's the one that pretty much, she is the instructor for that course. So
she didn't mention it.
Okay.
He mentioned it in the beginning that we get all university days off and that any additional days that our actual facilities have off additionally.
Catherine, is that you?
So meaning like the Warhawk Day off?
Yeah. Right. Okay, who was that? Was that you, Catherine?
She had mentioned class that we get the Warhawks.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, that's exactly right. That's the standard practice, is that whatever days are scheduled for days off for university students, that's your day off there. But you need to make that aware, make your field supervisors aware this week that that's going to happen. Remind them, because they do get, I believe, the schedule of the academic calendar, not the schedule, but the academic calendar. And that shows the days that they're off. In fact, Dr. Salisbury has consistently over the years provided a list of your days, your actual days in field. So that should be your guide, okay? And you should always note it before you start your field work that week. And if there are days off, let your field supervisor know. Okay. All right. I want to point this out to y'all, a really cool logo. I like this. You've got this available to read at your discretion. I hope that you will read it. It's really very encouraging to me. Every March is Social Work Month, as you may know from your matriculation here at ULM, that we celebrate National Social Work Month. And we like to see each state do a governor's proclamation of recognizing National Social Work Month. And typically that's through your cultural body, your National Association of Social Workers state chapter. So our state chapter president will approach the governor and secure a governor's proclamation. And this year, because of COVID, it's almost like social workers have been left out, which is interesting because we are, if you think of it, those social workers who are in public agencies, particularly like child welfare, those kids have still got to be investigated, even though the rates have gone down. The rates of reports of child abuse have reportedly gone down throughout the nation. Now, it would be interesting to be a little bird in y'all's field seminar classes to hear how that's actually manifesting for DCFS right now in Ouachita Parish, or in any of our parishes in this region. But it's not just that. It's not just doing family services to make sure kids are that are in their homes, and we're trying to keep them safe, stay safe. So you should have to wear a mask when you go into their homes, but you still got to go into their homes, or else you risk a kid maybe being neglected or unintentionally unsupervised, and or missing out on school. In fact, it just crosses my mind that all of the information that we're hearing about kids' mental health being compromised by COVID right now, oh gosh, I got 5 minutes, is largely because of the isolation and not being able to socialize. And in fact, this morning, there was a special on, very early this morning, on C-SPAN about children's mental health and suicide, a really moving video clip that a man who's, I think is like a 13-year-old son, committed suicide recently. Not doing well, being isolated, not having, connections outside of being online schooling. So look at this, think about it, think about the placements that you're in and how you may be an essential worker too. Think about people who have to have food stamps, or people who have to have food stamps, SNAP rather, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or people who just need to know how to get to a food bank or a food distribution line, or how to get immunizations now. As we go along each week, it's something new that we're doing and adjusting to in order to live with this pandemic until we get it under control, which is where we are now in attempts to get it under control, right? So just interesting to look at there. You'll be hearing more about that. So these PowerPoints that I just want to show you, really good diagrams. We're going to revisit this next week, introducing you to generalist practice. So how we actually go about working with communities in ways where we systematically, just like we do on the micro level, work through how we make community change. And that brings me to the Community Impact Project. We're not going to have time to do it, but I'm just highlighting those things, pointing out the things you need to pay attention to with that PowerPoint. We're not going to have time to do it today, but I want you to look over that syllabus carefully, and I'm going to try to pull up, try to do it today after my 9 o'clock class. That was a bomb because the commitment didn't work. I want to try to pull up an example of a class project from last spring 2020, where the group created their topics, worked it as a group process, which remember we're going to do on Zoom by going into groups that I'm going to monitor for the time that you're in the class. So from 1:30 to 3:30, right? So I've got all those notes to put into place. So just getting all this going right now. So make sure you look at that syllabus and read that requirements. So you have questions.
Sorry.
Got a question?
So we'll be going into groups from 1:30 to 3:30.
Well, no, you won't go into groups right off. You'll go into groups for probably about an hour, depending on how it goes as we go through the semester. You may go in for a longer period of time from time to time if you're not able to connect or get together in other ways like phone or Facebook or whatever social media you may use. So I'll monitor that as we go along starting next week. Because next week, I want you to think about topics. And this is what I want to point out to you. This is, I wanted to make you aware that Louisiana was one of the states last year that had before our state legislators within our legislative session last year that we be among the states to ratify, and specifically that we would be the last state required to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And why is that important? Well, right here, Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment, not everybody agrees with, but you've got a nice little discussion here from C-SPAN as well. and from MSNBC. This one is really, if it works, I need to, somebody check that and let me know, send me an email or whatever if these links do not work. Because what this does is it gives you an idea of a topic that you may be interested in, and others in our class may want to share doing a community impact project too. Okay, so and this has to do with women's rights. Even though we've made major strides in advancing women's 2 o'clock, dang it, we've made major strides in women's rights, we still are not equally represented in the Congress. We're not, definitely not equally represented in our state legislature here in Louisiana, and so it's true around the nation. So look at those for ideas. Professional journal. Let me just point out that this is, if you're had taken one of my other classes where I used a professional journal, then, or a reflective journal. This is not a reflective journal as such, though you can write anything, same as before. But I want you to try to stay on topic with this one about managing the stressors of being in your field placement, doing coursework, and probably other jobs that some of you have, I know, because I know you do. So look at this chapter. If you read the whole thing, great. If you don't, whatever. This is the, but reference it. You know, the best way to read is to skim, highlight, and then make your own outline that way. This is a PowerPoint for you from the same chapter. It says chapter 2, but it's the same chapter as the this 2015 edition of this book, which I use because the parts that have not changed, I keep so I don't have to worry about copyright issues, because that's what we call fair use copyright. So, okay. So you got one of those there, and you've got readings, got a couple of examples here. I just talked about one regarding children's mental health. So you're going to think about what are social welfare issues that you are interested in, and especially contemporary issues. It might be something to do with, I think about Catherine and some other students that are military, and sorry if I'm not calling you right now, other than Catherine White, but that are military, National Guard, or active duty, or, you know, have gone into National Guard or part-time, that there are lots of issues, one of which is regarding women's issues, the issue of rape within and sexual assault within the military. And, you know, I'd love to hear a project on that, but, you know, y'all need to think about it. So we're going to explore next week topics and get them pinned down. Okay. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time here or a lot of time here. These are really for your information to give you ideas. Okay. Also, up here, and this will end on this, reading materials. I just didn't get a chance to, wait a minute, that's the wrong thing. That's the whole course stuff. Hold on. Dang. Where did it go? Where did it go? I'll point it out to you. I'll tell you where to go and read. This is an article. There it is. There it is. Here's a good article. When you look at your syllabus and it talks about the requirement for reading a journal article, this is the kind of article you're going to want to look at. This is luckily a pretty short one, but it has to do with a very contemporary social welfare issue. Remember, it's not just government, it's social welfare is everywhere. And this one that I found early this morning is mobilizing a community academic partnership to provide DIY, do-it-yourself hand washing stations to Skid Row residents during COVID. That is a big deal. It's been on the media like nonstop, if you are tuned into that, about how the people who are homeless, and particularly those who live on the street in large, metropolitan areas, very large statistical metropolitan statistical areas, that they are contributing to the spread. Los Angeles just is still reeling, from that. So this is a very contemporary issue. This is a good article to look at as an example of something that relates to community impact. So the development of these hand washing stations is an example of something that we'll be talking about and applying to your major project, okay? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
I hope the unveiling lasts more than 5 minutes, so.
And so we had the professional journal that's due on the 31st, right?
Yes, the professional journal, okay? That's your personal writing about stress management on your job, on your field placement.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all that's up there so far.
Okay.
And I'm going to try, because I had a student ask on one of these Zooms about having a calendar. And I admit I've never really paid much attention to that. Frankly, honestly, I thought it just self-populated somehow. I don't know. So now I'm going to try to put that up there for y'all so you'll know when assignments are coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So you're going to head over there, go see what's going on with the BLM artwork unveiling.
Wish I
probably
could go. I'm in my hometown.
Well, there's something else supposed to happen. Ms. Lewis, so you know about that, or anybody else at RSO or Student Government Association that knows about what's happening tonight or this evening?
I don't know.
I don't either. Oh, well, okay. Well, I want to run over.
It's hard to keep up with all the happenings.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It sure is.
Okay. Are we meeting on Zoom next week?
We are, unless I get the equipment fixed and before next Monday. And I'll send you until you hear from me, we're meeting on Zoom. And
okay, then.
I want to try to do a poll too next time, see if y'all want to go ahead and just, since Dr. Salisbury said, I think I put this in the announcement, that if y'all are meeting with her on Zoom, if you want to just continue to meet on Zoom with me, that's fine. I'll still try to go to the classroom and get it working.
Okay. All righty then. Everybody have a nice day.
Yeah. Have a nice day and a good week. And your
okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
That's it.
Yes. Hold on.